All right, 30 for 30. For those of you that don't know, this is about my 12th attempt at this video without interruptions. If you like the content, go over to the Patreon page, check it out. There's going to be some stuff on there only for Patreon, but it's not a paywall. It's just going to be there. If you want to donate $1 or more, you're welcome to join the Debunk Army just to support the page. But you don't have to. Today we're going to be talking about, well, the stuff on the screen. That's why I put it on there, right? I put it on there so you can see it. You've seen this stuff before. Talking about China, the China's top scores, their, reading, math, and science. Reading 555, math 591, science 590. Some high numbers there, right? Take a look. You got Canada. Ooh, you Canadians, guys are smart. Swedes, smart. France, you're kind of down there. I'm not going to say anything. Switzerland, really low down there. I'm kind of surprised. Now, I'm not here to take any, pokes at anybody or anything like that. I'm here to look at this graph and just see, is there anything that's different, inconsistent, or stands out? Well, you notice New Zealand, United States, United Kingdom, they're all just their own name. But who's here at the top? BSJZ. What is that? Is that like a rapper name? Jay-Z? What is that? It's clearly an abbreviation. It says China, Macau, China, Hong Kong, China. All of those are China. But what is this BSJZ? What does that mean? I'm going to tell you what it means. It means that on paper, Chinese students are the smartest in the world. Right? But here's the truth buried be those numbers. This 555, 591, 590, that's not China. It's not even close. You see, these scores in the 2018 assessment came from just 4 regions. BSJZ, Beijing, Shanghai, Jiangsu, and Zhejiang. Or as it's abbreviated on the chart, BSJZ. What a surprise! But what's so special about Beijing, Shanghai, Jiangsu, and Zhejiang? What's so special? Well, that's right. They're the most developed, wealthiest, most privileged areas in all of China. That's China's elite. It's a showcase, a showroom floor to the West. This is like judging the average intelligence of the United States by only testing kids in like Silicon Valley, Upper Manhattan, and elite Boston suburbs. And then going, America, look how smart we are. That's not national performance. That's statistical manipulation. And every time those numbers come out, the Chinese government jumps at the chance to quote, well, look at us. They're influencers. They're academics, they're Twitter army, they all flood the internet saying, see, our system is superior. Chinese kids are better educated, America's falling behind. But they're lying. And worse, because they're smart, they know it. The cherry-picked lie. The program, the PISA, the PISA test, the Program for International Student Assessment, is run by the OECD. It's meant to be a standardized look at the global education systems, testing 15-year-olds on reading, math, and science. Most countries submit nationwide data. Rich students, poor students, urban kids, rural kids, everyone. Except for this one. And who's that? That's China. They chose to submit only data from 4 provinces. Not even 4 provinces. 4 cities in a coastal region that are statistical outliers within their own country. But why would they want to do that? Beijing and Shanghai are megacities with global connectivity, sky-high GDP per capita, and access to the best schools in the country. Zhejiang and Jiangsu are industrial powerhouses with intense academic competition, heavy investments in education. Meanwhile, the rest of China is struggling. Go to Gansu or Guizhou or Yunnan, and you'll find crumbling schools, underpaid teachers, outdated textbook, and children walking hours to school if they're lucky enough to attend at all. But the PISA chart doesn't show that, and that's by design, because the CCP doesn't want you to know that there are two Chinas, one China for show and one China for reality. The reality of rural China is what they leave out of the conversation, that roughly 70% of China's population lives outside the major urban centers. Millions of rural students face extreme inequity, poor infrastructure, lack of qualified teachers, and under-resourced schools. Education access in western and central China lags behind the city by decades. Okay? There's a massive hukou system that limits migrant workers and their families from accessing city education, trapping rural kids in low-quality schools. In 2022, Chinese state-run media itself admitted that hundreds of thousands of children in remote areas were still dropping out of school early, mostly due to poverty or lack of access. But none of that is captured in the PISA numbers, because they don't test those kids. They're not part of the BSJZ. They're invisible. This is why the CCP leaves those numbers out, because they don't reflect the average Chinese student, right? They reflect the best case scenario and present it at the norm. Meanwhile, in the West, let's look at how democratic countries report their numbers. The United States, for example, scored a 505 in reading, well below China's inflated 555. But here's the difference. We didn't cherry pick. The test includes public schools, private schools, and rural schools. Urban schools, too. It includes students from wealthy families and students from the poorest zip codes. It includes students with disabilities, students who speak English as a second language, and students facing homelessness. It's real. It's raw. It's honest. And the same goes for countries like the UK, Australia, and Canada. They test everyone because they value transparency more than image. So when China beats them on PISA, it's not because China's system is better. Because the CCP rigged the sample pool. It's like sending your top Olympic athletes to race it and claiming it's a random population survey. That's what they're doing. They're taking the best and saying this is the average. So this is the dark side of the scores. Even within BSJZ, the results come at cost. Chinese students in these regions endure brutal academic pressure. Test prep begins in kindergarten. After-school tutoring dominates childhood. Mental health issues run rampant. Suicide rates among teenagers are on the rise. The curriculum isn't designed for creativity or growth. It's designed for test scores. And still many don't succeed. For every student who excels in BSJZ, there are thousands more outside those regions who will never be given the same opportunity. Not because they aren't smart, but because they weren't born. Because they were born in the wrong place, in the wrong province. This is the hidden tragedy behind the PISA propaganda. You might be thinking, well, who cares? Why does this matter? It matters because numbers like these shape global opinion. They're used to argue that authoritarian systems are more efficient, more mediocratic, or more effective. It feeds into the narrative that says democracies are messy and failing, while top-down control gets results. But that narrative is not real. The narrative is fake. And the PISA numbers are one of its favorite weapons. So when you see a chart showing China at the top, remember this. That's not 1.4 billion people. That's not rural villages. That's not struggling families or broken schoolhouses. That's Beijing, Shanghai, Jiangsu, and Zhejiang. And even then, the only best performing schools. Not education. It's propaganda in numeric form. The bottom line is simple. Education is not just about scores. It's about access. It's about opportunity. It's about honesty. China could have submitted the national data. They chose not to. They chose the regions that make them look good. And then they flooded the internet with posts claiming that their system is superior. Then you got people like this girl going on there reposting these numbers, thinking that that makes her sound smart. But it doesn't. It's a con. She's a con. She's fake. And no amount of flashy charts can cover that up. So the next time someone brags that Chinese kids are beating American kids on PISA, tell them the truth. They're not. Because the numbers aren't real. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a good day. Thank you so much for watching.